Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Stefan Cordova on the line, and he's the founder over at FriendWithA. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Adam, for having me.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at FriendWithA, but before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how'd you get started in your career?
So I guess, taking it back a little bit, kind of all goes back to college in really just getting out, what am I going to do with my life right there. And like many people, I had no idea what I was going to do and took the guidance of my dad to start with. It was, hey, go be a lawyer and accountant right there. So lawyer didn't really sound too appealing. So I went over and thought, you know what, accounting, that's a good degree to have just to have an idea with business. So I did 4 years in accounting, and then the plan was to take the CPA, and for that you need 5 years. So with that, I then took the 5th year and decided, you know what, I took one class in information systems, and that really just was the tipping point right there. I said, oh my gosh, I took 4 years of accounting classes, had no interest in those. And the 5th year, I just totally devoted all to information systems classes right there. So that was really the tipping point in interest in technology-related businesses. So after I graduated in 2009, and that was right in the middle of the big recession right there. So there was no jobs to be found. So I went and said, all right, I'm based up in Seattle, so the Winter Olympics was coming along in Vancouver. So I said, you know what, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity right there. So I packed my bags, moved up to Whistler, Canada, and did a season up there. I was serving restaurants, working up on the mountain right there, skiing, snowboarding every day. And after I did that, came back, and then was still on the search for, all right, what am I going to do right there? And still no jobs to be found. So I was doing everything from doing door-to-door meat sales to working in apartment complexes, and finally found one where I was doing some more accounting work, which I did not want to do. So I did that for about a year and a half. And then one day I bumped into this guy from my class, and he said, hey, what are you up to, man? I said, I'm doing some accounting work, doing some VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, kind of cool stuff like that. And he was like, oh, you know what? We're actually doing some similar stuff to that over at KPMG. And I remember you from giving this presentation. Would you like to interview with us? So I said, heck yeah, that was always one of my dream jobs at the time. So I did an interview with them and got the job. And this was really my first real introduction to the software world in general. So we were doing software license audits and software asset management on behalf of Microsoft, IBM, all these other major software vendors. So we were kind of like our own little startup team where we developed our own scripts, methods, analysis to analyze all of the information that we would get from customers' computers. So kind of at a broad range, it was how much software are you using from Microsoft versus how much did you purchase, and then here's the final result right there. This is what you owe Microsoft. So as you can imagine, it was a great learning opportunity right there. That wasn't what I wanted to do with my entire life, just delivering bad news to individuals about how much they owed Microsoft or IBM or VMware for their software licenses. So that one of our challenges that we always had right there was, all right, how much, or the technical challenges. So we were great at all the knowledge right there, but actually getting the information, we had programmers and other people on the team, but it was just really, really challenging to communicate and do all that other good stuff right there. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to get a background myself. So it was after 4 years, and I went on a little hiatus, did a little trip around the world, and then came back and really just devoted myself to learning software programming. So I took up Python, started my own web development agency, and really just kind of hit the books running right there with everything that I could do to just immerse myself in software. And that was kind of all with the grand master plan of one day running my own software company.
So, Stefan, I love your story, and what I like about it is that you can really see the transition and how, you're not scared of hard work, everything from door-to-door sales to now working your way up to your own company. That being said, there's some listeners right now that aren't quite as far along as you are. Maybe they're just getting started as an entrepreneur, and they're in your shoes of when you first got started. What kind of advice would you give to that new would-be entrepreneur that's really just going out there with their first venture?
So what I would say, first off, is just do it, man. There's going to be a million reasons out there why not to, and you can overanalyze the crap out of why you should or you should not do it. And at the end of the day, you just have to take the plunge and just do it. That being said, there's ways where you can save yourself some money and a lot of time right there. So once you just really have it and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this, the first thing is to fail quickly and to do it with a product that you don't necessarily have to have online. So for us, we have a digital product, but it really comes down to people and making that interaction with people. So can you do something that doesn't scale and you can sell personally before you go out there and build a website, build an API, hire people, do all this other stuff right there? It's just go interview people, sell a product right there just that you can personally have. And once you do that, then you can say, all right, is this a product that has the right market size, that can scale, that I want to devote 10 years to, and then go on from there.
That's awesome. Let's switch it up a bit. I want to get into what you're doing over at FriendWithA. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So I guess it all started from an idea about a year and a half ago, and we were sitting around with some friends right there and just having some beers, and one of my friends was like, hey, I wish I had a friend with a boat. And it just struck a chord with me because it was the fifth time that I'd heard someone say that right there. And I was like, you know what? This is another girl right here. I've heard this 5 other times right there. And so the original concept for FriendWithA was going to be a boat sharing company. And not only just sharing boats, but a space on a boat. So my buddies were calling it the Tinder for boats right there. And so it was just a space on a boat. And you know what I did? What I said, I went out and interviewed a lot of people right there, talked to a lot, and just decided, you know what? I don't think this is going to be what we're going to move forward with right there. Although I still, someone could still start that company out there. I think there was just some legal challenges with that, with selling the license, or not the license, but the charter licenses. So with that, it was right around that same time where I was living in a neighborhood and we were house sitting, my wife and I were, and it was a really cool because we weren't from there, but they shared everything. So it was in this little cul-de-sac, and it was 8 neighbors all sharing one riding lawnmower, all sharing tools, sharing just everything that you can think of was all shared in the neighborhood. And it was like, wait, how is this happening here? But yet my mom, she had this same issue 2 years ago, and she didn't even feel comfortable going over and knocking on next door neighbor's house hey, can I borrow? She didn't want to be intrusive and borrow the lawnmower right there. So it was right around that time when I was like, you know what, maybe there's just more than a boat sharing company here. Maybe there's a way to replicate what's happening in this neighborhood digitally and all across the world right there. And so with that, that was kind of the initial introduction into this Share Anything platform. And from there, it's morphed a few other times right there. But one of the things was when trying to figure out, all right, where is their need and then where is their supply for products that are going to be locally connecting individuals. And so for that, went out and interviewed a lot of people, did a lot of research, and put up a quick MVP website right there trying to find anyone. And finally, we found this community, and it's the electric skateboard community. So this is like the self-balancing one wheels that go like 18 miles on a charge right there, up to 20 miles an hour, boosted boards, electric unicycles, electric scooters, kind of all this cool stuff right there. And they're expensive products, like $2,000, $3,000 to get in there. So we really found this community where people really wanted to try this stuff out, or they wanted to use this while they were traveling, but there wasn't any way to find this out there. So we found this, and it was the first time that anyone actually cared about what we were doing. I remember once I did some research and I found this community right here, and I emailed, or I opened this up on a Facebook group. Hey, would you guys ever use this site right here? And it was the first time that anyone actually just completely hated on the website and everything that we were doing. But it was awful. But at the same time, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time that anyone actually cares what we're doing right now. So it was a great feeling, and I knew that we were onto something at that point. We've just kind of moved forward from there.
Man, that is an awesome concept, and I get it completely. And it's funny that you say that sometimes even negative feedback is like, oh my gosh, somebody finally cares. You struck a chord. So there's a way to move this forward. I love your stories, Stefan. So that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on FriendWithA or to connect them, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Go to the website. It's FriendWithA, all one word, .com, and then just on the website you can sign up, you can borrow some whatever you want on there, your gear, you can earn money listing out your own gear on the website, or you can just call or email our support line, that's support@friendwitha.com, and I will answer that as well.
Perfect. Well, hey, Stefan, really appreciate you sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at FriendWithA. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things that we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Stefan, thanks again for coming on the show.